The biggest factor in providing customer service that differentiates itself from the competition is the motivation levels of the person you're dealing with. Attention, enthusiasm, and a focus on an appreciation of their needs depends on motivation, not training. You can't afford employees who lack commitment or whose main objective is to leave the business as fast as humanly possible. The customer's experience is driven by you as an individual. So how are you going to change it? I once called a power company to move my account to a new address filled with the apprehension by the stories I'd heard from colleagues of errors, ineptitude. What I received was a very different experience. Instead, they solved all my problems in the first 5 minutes, including what had transpired was entirely of my own making. I was so shocked, I told everyone in the pub about it later. That's how reputations are built and lost. The next day my sister told me she'd had a very different experience with the same organisation, one of a horrific nature. Exposure to the individual, that's what shapes our experience. And when my guy called back, I asked him just what had put him in such a great mood. He said, today one of the team, one of my colleagues, took an interest in me personally, and it really motivated me. Years ago, I consulted for the British government on the reasons why organisations here in this country tend to record so many sick days in the course of a year. We're the worst in Europe for it. In Europe, to the point at which I began work on one organisation, they'd had an average number of sick days per employee of 16, which is absolutely inordinate by anybody's standards. I began to work with the idea in mind and maybe try to understand some of the common illnesses people came up against, maybe somehow try to help them. But it very quickly took on a different perspective indeed when, by the admission of those people involved, they began to tell me they hadn't always been absent from work because of illness. Sometimes they just woke up in the morning, they weren't infused, motivated by the idea of getting out of bed, and they took what's become commonly referred to now as a duvet day. So I went to see a director of the organisation and I said to him, what have you been doing over the course of the last year to address motivation levels? The answer was, actually, you've been doing a lot. Every quarter they ran a competition which allowed employees to make suggestions about the best possible way the organisation could improve. The winner got a prize. So I said to him, how's that been going? And he told me, it's fantastic. Because every time we run the competition, there are some great suggestions about how we can push the organisation forwards. But I'm hugely frustrated because every time we do it, it's those same people who make all the suggestions. There are others I can't seem to engage at all. And actually, I wasn't surprised by that one bit because it's such a common mistake made. In any attempt to motivate others to assume you can come up with that one cover-all solution, it's going to address everybody's needs. We aren't all the same. We aren't plastic, and there are different things that motivate us. And it led me to put together my list of what I now call Archer's motivating factors, the things that really drive us through those situations we may not otherwise want to be a part of. So you could be driven to success at work. You might be looking for respect. It could just be you want to help someone who's really struggling, perhaps to assist the team. You might, like me, be motivated by the thought of proving something, either to someone else or to yourself. But if you know that Archer's motivating factors exist, well, the real question is this: how is it that you know the factor that applies to you or to the person you're dealing with? Well, actually, that part in the process is a relatively easy one because All you have to do is ask, the last time you were motivated, and there will have been a time, however long ago, however fleeting that experience was, what was it that put you in that state of mind? Think about the last 3 times. Write them down, because you'll see a common thread. Because I can think of days when I've woken up in the dead of winter, it's pitch black, freezing cold. Outside, you just know there's going to be ice there in the ground. The alarm clock sounds like some klaxon going off in your head. And the only way the duvet is ever moving is if you literally bench press it off. And then there are other days, and I don't know how this happens, but when the alarm clock sounds, it doesn't even matter because I'm already standing here.